Hello friends! Today we're going to be focusing first of all on our material list for today's project, which is our pointillism jellyfish. So for our first material that we need, it's going to be paint, and you can use acrylic paint or watercolor paint, whatever you have around at home. And second of all, we need Q-tips. That's very important to get our pointillism feel to our painting. And a pencil is important because we need it to outline our jellyfish. And can't forget paper. Paper is very important, and you can use construction paper, computer paper. And the last material is tape, and that's completely optional. I use tape in my project just to keep it stable, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. And now we're going to start on to our actual project. So here I just took a mechanical pencil and I made sure to draw a scalloped edge on the bottom of my dome for my jellyfish. And this was going to just help me kind of guide where I want my paint to be. And then you see here that I'm just taking my Q-tip, I dabbed it in some red paint, and I'm just going to outline my pencil line just so I can cover it up. And I started with my darkest color, which was going to be that red. And you see I fill in. And then you see I pick a new color. It's kind of hard to see from the video, but I did use kind of like a brighter orange. I just kind of dab it in there, and then I take that bright yellow and kind of just mix all the colors in at once. You can still kind of see that each individual little dot is still there. I'm just kind of layering all of my colors together. And then I added some white for some dimension. And here you see I'm just using that same Q-tip, and I'm just kind of mixing it all together, and I'm getting that really nice layered look of all of the colors I used. And then I took that first dark color that I used, and I'm using that dark red for the tentacles. So how I do my tentacles is I start with that longer one, and then I kind of just make shorter ones, longer ones. Normally, however you see a jellyfish, you know that none of their tentacles are exactly the same length. And then on top of that darker red, I took that orange again just to give it a little bit more dimension, because we want to make sure we use up as many colors as possible and make sure this picture is as colorful as possible. And after we get the first one done, I'm going to go in with the second one, and I felt like a green jellyfish was the next best thing. So I started with a darker green. It almost looks teal on the video, but exactly like I did on the first one, I'm going to start with that dark color, and I'm going to very slowly fill in that jellyfish, and I'm keeping in mind to cover up my pencil lines, and oops, my camera fell a little bit. But almost done filling in that jellyfish, and just like the red one, I'm going to go in with a lighter green. And there's that lighter green. And for this project, you can use the same Q-tip or on either ends, and you don't have to use a singular Q-tip for each color. I did in this case only because I have so many at home. Oh, and then here we go, layering with that white again. I wanted to make sure that my jellyfish had a lot of layers of color, so it gave it some dimension. And just like the red, I took that darker green that I first started with, and that's what I used for its tentacles. And you can see it's not perfect. Your jellyfish don't have to be perfect by any means. No jellyfish is the same. So however you want your jellyfish to look will be perfect. And just to keep in mind, you don't have to use the same colors that I used. You can make your jellyfish pink or purple. You can make it blue, even though our background's going to be blue, but if you want a blue jellyfish, you go ahead and make your blue jellyfish. And you see I'm still adding in those darker colors, just layering just to give my jellyfish the most dimension. And here we start with the fun part, which is the background. So I started with a pretty dark blue. You can kind of see my paints over there. but I just started dipping my Q-tip in, and I was making sure to fill up all of the white space. It's okay to have a little bit of white space, but we want to make sure that we try to maximize our space and try and cover everything. And if you've noticed, I did change colors, so I started with that super dark blue and I kind of worked in that lighter blue. And just keeping in mind, keeping all of my dots pretty dot-like, I would say. And then I went in with a different blue. And with this blue, it was a little bit more watery, so it was a lot easier for me to blend it at the end. And you're gonna see soon here how I go in just to kind of blend everything together like I did with the jellyfish. And here I worked in some white just to give all the colors a little bit of extra dimension. And then I just tried to take that white and put it in a bunch of different spots. And here you see I flipped my Q-tip over, so I had a blending side, and then the other side was just for my white paint, so I can go back in and not turn my white paint blue. And then here you see, this took me quite a while. I did, if you noticed, I did speed up the video, but it did take me a little bit to blend out the outside. But it was very fun to see all of the different blues kind of come together and make that pretty ocean water. And on mine, I have a bunch of extra glitter around my house, so I figured I would add in some glitter to my jellyfish. There we go. So I just wanted to give my jellyfish a little bit of extra sparkle. And you don't have to add glitter. I just have a bunch of glitter sitting around my house. And then here I'm just taking off that extra tape on the edge, and you want to make sure you're super careful because you don't want to rip up your paper. And I'll get the other side. And you can kind of see all my little glitter flecks on my jellyfish. And there you go. There's a nice close-up. You can see it's not perfect, but it looks amazing.